Hi, this is Margaret Byrd, and welcome to Color Quest, and welcome back to Spain. I have been extremely lucky to have spent one glorious week here in the area of Aragon in the northeastern part of Spain with my daughter, who is a teacher in this region. And the intent was not to do any filming, but when I got here, I mean, look at this. Poppies everywhere. And when I mean everywhere, I'm talking about fields and fields over hundreds of miles that we have traveled in this beautiful area very near the Pyrenees mountain. So last week, we did a quick steam bundle dye with them, and this week, I wanted to put them into a dye pot. So let's pick some of these beautiful red poppies and see what color they're going to bring about in our dye studio. I have never been anywhere where I have seen so many red poppies, and they are along every road, across huge fields, in between these beautiful beds of agriculture, and just taunting me with their red color. I have been here for a week, and I really have been itching to get these poppies into a dye pot. Now there are so many. I'm feeling very comfortable in my ethical foraging techniques, and that is that I will stop along the way in different locations and pluck a handful here and there so that we can get those in the dye pot. I did bring some wool yarn with me, and so I'm going to use that as the fiber today to do something a little different and just see if it's going to be similar to the color we got in the steam dye or if it's going to be something different. So let's get to foraging. So when you travel, you have to just make do with what you have. I didn't bring a lot of materials with me. I was going to be gone a long time and I needed to limit my luggage. So I just threw some fibers in, some of which have been pre-treated with various kinds of mordants. It's a bit of a mess, but I know we have some of that binding power already there. For today's video, I'm going to be using wool that I pre-treated a long time ago with alum, and I also had a few scraps that were in a bag that was labeled soy, so it's possible that the smaller scraps of cotton, bamboo, and silk were actually pre-treated with soy. Not sure. But regardless, I'm going to throw those in just to see how they might differ from the wool that I know has been pre-treated with alum. I'm going to soak the fibers before I put them into the dye pot. For the flowers themselves, I'm going to be separating the petals from the center pieces. I want to try to have the purest color, and I'm sure that those center pieces and greenery will have their own kind of color. And I'm not sure what that is, so I'd like to try to keep it more pure. So I'm separating those and I'm putting the petals into the pot. I will be ripping the petals up into slightly smaller pieces because when you put dye matter into a pot, if you have more surface area, it just allows for more of that color to potentially come into the dye itself. Now, these are red. Red in nature tends to be quite unstable as a color, and I'm going to want to avoid high heat. I'm going to simmer these on a very low heat for a longer period of time, and then I will be introducing the fiber. Now, I don't have time to let these simmer for an hour on their own to create the color, as well as an additional hour for the wool. So After about an hour, I'm going to be placing the wool right in with all of those petals, and we're just going to turn the heat off and let them sit for a few days because I am on my way to Andorra to spend the weekend in the mountains. So let's get those petals separated, the fiber soaking, and then get that pot of poppy dye going. So it is time for me to head to Andorra. It is a new country for me and it will be up in the mountains, so looking forward to a little spring at high altitude. So what did you think of that color? Quite lovely, no? And think of how easy that is to throw a little bit of yarn into your suitcase and bring it along just in case you're lucky enough to find an abundance of a dye flower like the red poppy. So I am so grateful that I was able to have that opportunity to share this with you. And I'm going to encourage you to do the same when you are traveling. Stash a little fiber away. It could be paper, it could be yarn, it could be just a very simple piece of scrap. But do that and then you never know, right? So keep your eyes out. It's a great way to connect with the environment around you and looking at the landscapes in a whole different way. So have a wonderful week, and I can't wait to see you next Friday. Oh, that we've got some binding power, some binding available.